The following is a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club.
Classic. I'll take it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to our show. We are here in St. Louis at the Summer Classic. I'm Yasser, and this is Begim. I can't believe it. This is the first time we get to work together.
I love
Wow.
that. Thank you for having me.
Not
Yasser.
at all. Are you kidding me? This is great. Hello, everyone. We're going to have a lot of fun today as we talk about two tournaments, the Classic, that are ongoing now as I speak. And let's talk about it and jump right in. Tell us about the fields. We'll start with Group A. Begim, who's playing?
A players are Dariusz, Raunak, Illia, Benjamin, Aram, Krishnan, John, Pravin, Nikolas, and Abhi.
Wonderful field. And Group B.
And Group B players are Alex Lenderman, Semyon Lomonosov, Brendan Jacobson, Andrew Hong, Alshan Muradabadi, Arman, Mikaelyan, Justin Wang, Dambarusen Batsuren, Luka Budisavljevic, Akshat Chandra.
I'm so glad you did all of that and I didn't have to. Wow, that was terrific. And tell us about the, as we see the players in the tournament hall. And they're just down the road at the Chase
Park
Plaza. Yeah, the hotel. Just down the road from here where we are, which is in the St. Louis Chess Club and Scholastic Center. And tell us, Begim, about the format of these two tournaments.
The format of the two tournaments are two 10-player round robin, 90 minutes for the first 40 moves, 30 minutes for the rest of the game, and 30 seconds increment throughout the game.
I like these time controls, I really do. I think they're very nice and clean. And tell us about the tournament schedule.
Tournament schedule is we start the first round today, and it's gonna be till August 10th without any rest days, Yasser.
Straight through 9 rounds in a row. We're gonna be exhausted. I don't know about the players. Having a lot of fun, huh?
Having a lot of fun as well.
Okay, and tell us about the pairings. Let's start with Group A.
Today, Raunak is playing against John Burke, Pranav playing against Abhi, Benjamin Burke is against Nikolas Theodorou, Illia Nyzhnyk against Aram Hakobyan, and our key matchup is Dariusz versus Krishnan, Sasikiran.
Well, let's just take a quick gander at those two players. They're really, really strong. They're coming in as tournament favorites. Pardon me. As we jump into the game, I tell you, Begim, I look at this position that I have in front of me. I just go back a few moves. And as I go back, I start to look at all of the moves that have happened, and I really get this awkward feeling that we've been here before, that the players are following something like the precepts of theory. And I wouldn't be surprised if they are very familiar, because essentially, the whole board got hosed, right? I mean, the bishop, you want it more or less if you believe you have the advantage. You more or less want to keep the bishop, but this position looks really balanced. I don't see anybody having a big advantage.
I agree with you. It feels like they both still know the position. They're just trying to remember the right moves.
Well, indeed, and as we are looking at the position, they're already close to 20 moves in, so it goes to show how deep the opening.
I'm just surprised that they're taking their time. They spent like an hour.
Getting here, right? Okay, well, we'll keep an eye on this one, and then let's take a look at, well, there they are.
They seem very focused.
And here, and here are the pairings for Group B.
Group B pairings are Justin Wang against Akshat Chandra, Batsuren against Elshan, and Arman against Andrew Hong, Luka Budisavljevic against Semyon Lomonosov, and Brendan Jacobson is against Alexander Lenderman, which are our key matchup. And let's start with this game.
Absolutely. Brandon Jacobson, hot off the U.S. Junior Championships where he competed in that event. Alex Lenderman has oftentimes played in the U.S. Championship, which means that he's been in the 2650, close to 2700 class, but he's been slipping. It's very, very hard at the top. And as we jump into their game, I've got to tell you that for me personally, I really don't like Lenderman's position at all.
Yeah.
I love the bishops in an open position, and we've got these two just beautiful bishops.
Yeah, absolutely. They're lovely.
Pressure on the b6, a6 pawns. The rook is about to slide over.
And
What's there not to like? It's all good for Brandon.
Yeah.
And whatever Alex has done prior to this, don't do this at home.
Don't try it at home.
You're not going to be happy with the outcome. This is not. This is not nice.
It looks good for Brandon so far.
Oh, it looks great. It looks terrific.
Gorgeous, right?
And as I just go down through our list before we get to do some serious analysis, these players are going to be fighting. What are they fighting for?
Oh,
prizes.
They are fighting for great prizes. For the Group A, first prize is $6,000. For the second one is $4,000. Third one is $3,000. And from the 4th to 10th, they still have great prizes, and the total prize fund of the tournament is $22,000.
Very nice. Thank you, St. Louis Chess Club. And the prize fund for the B group?
For the Group B, first prize is $4,000, second prize is $2,500, third prize is $2,000, and the rest of the players also get prizes, and the total prize of the fund of the tournament is $14,000.
Wonderful, thank you, very nice. Again, thank you, St. Louis, for all your support and having these fields. This is really, really fun.
Yeah.
We had just looked at the game of Brandon and Lenderman, and we just thought, like this wasn't really good. But now, having said that, now I'm curious.
Yeah.
How did Black get such a bad position?
Yeah, let's take a look. I was curious about that too.
I mean, again, Alex Lenderman has a reputation, and a very deserved reputation, as a well-prepared player. He plays the Queen's Gambit Accepted, something I play very often myself as Black.
This is a very tricky line for Black, right? Either you equalize or suffer whole game.
Well, I did better than that, I must say. If it was only about equalizing or
Have
suffering.
you ever beaten someone?
Oh my God, yeah.
Oh my God, who is
You're
that?
Right, oh,
Who is that unlucky person?
Well, the funny thing is a lot of my victories, of my many victories.
I believe you mentioned that before.
I oftentimes won because my opponents felt, hey, I'm white.
Yeah,
I'm white.
Need to put pressure, right?
Well, pressure is one thing. I'm white, I should be winning. So if they had a choice of a variation that might be, say, very balanced, they would go for the riskier choice just because they thought, okay, I'm supposed to be the one pressing.
Okay.
And then oftentimes they just went too far.
So you scored psychologically more than position-wise.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice. First question right here. The move knight c4, again, that's fine. Nobody's upset about that move. If there was a threat, and I'm not even sure it is a threat, it's based on the move knight d6, right? Yeah. So at this, and by the way, Brandon.
Did he resign already, or he accepted a draw? I
wouldn't be surprised if Brandon won. We'll find out very, very, very soon.
Okay, he's putting the kings.
Pieces.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this position, I would probably be inclined to play a move like queen to c7, just to protect the square. He castled.
It seems very natural, maybe, but he wasn't on time. Maybe there wasn't. I have a feeling Brandon caught him out of the opening.
Probably.
Queen c7, queen e7 looks logical, but it feels like maybe there are a3 before or immediately before some opening trap.
If I were in Black shoes, I'd probably be inclined to lose the bishop that's not developed in order to take command of the c file, something like queen c7. But he took bishop okay, this doesn't look terrible.
But it feels like, as you said, we are spending too much time on like developing the bishop, right?
Well, here he just made an oversight, I'm sure. In my way of thinking, knight c6 is a massive threat.
Absolutely.
And, well, queen b8 or knight takes e5 to deal with the threat. He allowed this position. And this is where, as we were coming on the air, we were talking about this Begim, and we were saying to each other, no, 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 and no. Right here is where we stopped, and you said, you know what, Yasser, if white ever gets an e3, e4, bishop e3,
they're done, right?
We're done. We're done. He did. He got it in.
It feels like Alex is still warming up to the tournament, and Brandon seems like on form already. He just ended the juniors tournament. Most probably he's like more awake of, like, you know, of the situation right now than Alex.
Yeah.
Maybe that's just an explanation
no,
for this
well,
game.
sometimes for me, especially for me, I want to say that I was always victimized by jet lag.
Yeah.
I would be traveling across the world, mostly, not just across country, but and the first few rounds, some pathetic examples. But if I got through the first few rounds, then I was fine. By the way, a3, a4, nothing else happened. We assume that this is where Lenderman said, I don't see a move. Just tell me what I'm supposed to do. The rook...
It is crazy that you cannot move a piece.
Right. The rook is tethered to the protection of that pawn.
Yeah.
Right?
Probably
these knights can't move. The only other... Well, you could move the rook, but again,
you cannot.
a5.
B6 is hanging too.
Well, I kind of be happy, right? Like, please take my pawn. Yeah, you know, like, okay, I'm lost. We're not discussing that, but I'm afraid.
He resigned. Okay,
yeah,
now
I'm
we know
afraid
for sure.
a5.
Even a5, yeah, it's crushing.
That's the one I'm having a problem with. So it's like, you could move the rook to get out of a5, but rook takes and you're done.
Now we look to the position deeper. It's just like
but
we were right about e4, bishop e3.
You were right. You got that. You nailed that right away. Let's just kind of go around the tournament tournament now that we're here. Just jump into the game of Justin Wang and Akshat Chandra. And by the way, this is not, okay, it comes out of an open Sicilian, looks like an English attack, and the players reach a position. I actually like these positions for black, which is kind of a strange thing to say, like white has done nothing wrong. White has this very nice wedgie, you know, and if he ever could play knight d4, b4, and c5, like in a very nice way, gets in that, I could.
Knight to f5 and b4, c5, it's a dream position.
Right, but it takes a lot of time. And in the meanwhile, it's, you know, just look at the games of Magnus Carlsen. He's got this very, very annoying counterplay down the e-file, oftentimes associated with knight e4. The bishop pops out to g5, or the bishop pops out to b6, and there are issues.
That's the issue with this position, like knight g4, knight e3 idea. If you are giving away your, not in here in general, giving away your black bishop, which he did, black square bishop, which white did, that's the issue. After exchanging some central pawns, you suddenly have weak position, weaknesses. For example, I can play queen b6, queen c5, as you said.
Right.
Or if bishop comes to b6 itself, immediately knight jumps to g4. Suddenly you don't have an attack, and black is faster.
Exactly.
That's why I think twice before I give away my e3 bishop.
Exactly. The other thing, the other reason that I do like black's position is one of king safety. We just talked about the hidden advantage in that previous game. That previous game, the hidden advantage, which wasn't so hidden, by the way, were the two bishops. Like, wow, that's really great. Here, the hidden advantage to me is that black's king is, frankly, safer. And the reason, well, there's an f2 pawn missing, and you can see that when the bishop goes to b6 with a check, the knight starts jumping, there could be an f2 issue, and it's not like white's attacking black's king. So let's see what happened.
Yeah,
Bishop
so you will
f3,
be shocked right now.
Rook d5. Okay, we're talking about c5. Well, white feels kind of compelled, right? You know,
Yes.
he's starting to think, I've got to use my majority g5. Now, that is a move.
I told you.
Viktor Korchnoi would tell you that when you play the move g5, you're making a very responsible decision.
Yeah.
And the first time I suggested to Viktor a move like g5 in a position we were analyzing together, he looked at me and he said, Yasser, you do know that pawns don't come back.
Exactly. You're literally mentioning that, oh, king is safe. And the next thing you know, Akshat, never mind, let's play g5.
Let's play g5. Okay, a very responsible
It
move.
looks good, but like as you said, what's the threat?
Well, he wants to take the rook, right? Okay,
I mean,
so let's
after you move the rook.
let's assume I move the rook.
If you move like that, he wants to play g5 and knight d5 maybe, and then he's hoping that king is fine.
Let's try it. You want to play g4?
Can I play g4? Let's see. Yeah.
I will move my bishop. You want to play knight takes d5?
Yes.
Take a pawn.
I have a huge threat, knight e3. And then I feel like Akshat is thinking white is not on time to attack, and then black's bishop, literally, black square bishop is so strong.
Well, let's just see. So I take a pawn. So you're welcome to kind of walk.
Can I play queen b6 with the idea knight e3?
Yes, absolutely. And my intention was to try to pin.
Oh, now I can take on d6 though. With the idea bishop.
Okay.
Bishop d6.
I mean, we're just throwing the patties here.
You want to take on d5.
Don't tell anybody. There are some tricky lines. It's not just completely play on one goal. One of the things that I don't like the move g5. Maybe the engine does, and you make a move like g5 for what I would call a tactical reason. Sure. In your case, you wanted to play g5, g4, take a pawn, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that. But I tend to think much more strategically, long term. Like, you know, what are the ramifications of g5? So in my mind, I'm kind of wanting to play on the dark squares. I would love this bishop to be out, and I would just like say, okay, go ahead, do your worst. Are you going to take? Or are you going to play like, I don't know, I'm just going to put some move. Are you going to play like this?
I absolutely agree with you. I don't see any need to be aggressive in this position with black, while white needs to find something themselves, right? And they need to create something because their position is not looking great.
Exactly. And the other thing is I don't think white's rook is very good.
Yeah.
I don't think the bishop is very good. And when your opponent's pieces aren't well played, let them stay. Let them stay.
Exactly.
But Begim,
yes.
We have a guest in studio who's going to explain to us. He makes it look easy, this Brandon guy. So I'm going to switch out.
Perfect.
I'd be so happy. And we're going to get Brandon in.
Yes, sir. I like having you back.
Yeah, right. But.
Brandon, congrats on your first win. Can you please tell me about the game a little bit? It felt like you had a very easy win today.
Thank you, yeah. So you played this QGA against me last time we played in the fall class about a year ago. So I was trying to find something interesting. And I think white play was actually a pretty unpleasant choice for him practically. Like, I know the computer says it's probably totally fine for him, but yeah, this line after knight c4.
Did you guys play the same line last year too?
No, so last time against a6, I played b3 instead
After
of knight
a6
b2.
here.
Just in, yeah, I played instead of bishop b2, I played b3.
b3. And then how
Just
did
with
the
the main
game
line.
end?
Yeah, he played b6 and I went bishop a3 and went for this long line and ended in a draw. But
okay. So you
and out of the opening, I
improved
was
this
actually
time.
worse. So yeah, I tried to find an improvement. And yeah, after knight c4, I think like, so I know the best move for him is queen c7.
Yeah, Yasser actually mentioned that, and I was wondering maybe you prepared something and then maybe it doesn't work. That's why he didn't play queen c7 or queen e7.
Yeah, so if queen e7, the point is now a3. Then after a5, knight d4, and black's in pretty serious trouble here. Knight b3 is coming. So the point is with the queen and c7, black has bishop a6 after knight d4. So let's say a3, a5. If knight d4, black goes bishop a6 now, and there's no knight c6. And black's just in time to get his pieces out, kind of. So, but I mean, at the same time, it's pretty counterintuitive to put the queen in the c file when I can go bishop d2 or c1 also. So I felt like it was pretty difficult for black to figure out. And already after castle knight d6, I mean, I'm sort of getting what I want here.
Yeah.
But yeah, here I think he made a pretty serious mistake of taking on d6. I think he should give the other bishop with queen e7. So I take on c8 or I take c8. Yeah, so something like a3, a5, and then b3. White should still be slightly better, but it feels like black's dark square bishop is much better placed, like on d6, let's say, than his light square bishop would be. And he can neutralize my bishop on b2.
But still, it feels like you already have some pressure, right?
Yeah, white is a little bit better, but let's say black plays something like rook d8 here.
Yeah.
Bishop b2, knight e5, queen c2, let's say, knight takes f3, bishop takes f3, rook c8, queen e2. We get some position like this, black can maybe go e5, and okay, white should be slightly better with the two bishops, but I mean, black's still pretty solid here. He has no clear weaknesses.
Was that your prep too for today?
I mean, I remembered something like this. I wasn't exactly sure if it was this, but like, I knew generally the position after rook takes c8 is like, it's a little bit better for white, but black's still super solid. But after bishop takes d6, yeah, I was out of prep, but I figured it kind of felt wrong to keep black with the light square bishop.
Yeah.
I think rook d1 is kind of a smart move here because I think what he was counting on was getting some quick counterplay. So let's say instead of rook d1, I go b3. Already is getting some knight e4 counterplay. I don't really have a good square for my queen.
It makes sense. Probably he wanted to put knight e4, knight c5, and he thought probably he will be fine there.
Right, exactly, yeah. And like after rook d1, bishop d5, like again here, if I'm not accurate, let's say I play something like knight d4, just kind of careless, then knight e4, queen a3, let's say, and then queen h4, and already black's getting pretty active, like g3, queen h3. This is not exactly what I want.
Okay.
But I think knight e5 was a pretty smart move, just immediately neutralizing all of his counterplay. Because like the problem is I'm coming quickly with f3 and e4, and there's not really much you can do. And yeah, I mean, it looks like he kind of just collapsed from here, but already I think it's very difficult for him to find a plan.
Yeah.
I mean, probably giving up the other bishop wasn't great. I mean, it makes sense because I guess he figures he's going to get shut out with f3, e4 at some point. Probably he should just try to take on e5 and just play queen e7 and play this position. I mean, it's not pleasant. I go f3, but maybe he should just go like rook d8 or rook c8 and kind of just play this position.
I think he thought he's suffering here too, and here he tried to play like rook a7, rook c7, queen b8, and then somehow like get the pieces out.
Yeah, I think he was trying to like exchange the light square bishop too, so that doesn't get trapped, and he might have some tricks with the knights. But yeah, I don't think it ever really worked out for him.
Perfect. So Brandon, you started the tournament well with white pieces. How are you feeling so far?
No, it feels good. It feels good. I just finished the junior close not too long ago, so I've just been hanging out in St. Louis. So it felt nice to sort of refresh and take a step back and just sort of relax before this tournament. And like I think for me it's pretty nice because I'm sort of warmed up from the last tournament, but I still had enough rest where I don't feel like burned out or anything. So it's great to start with the win. I'm ready to fight.
Okay, perfect. I'm glad to hear that, and good luck with the rest of the tournament.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's watch the next game, which is Benjamin Bok and Nikolas Theodorou.
Hate those 100% accuracy kind of things, right?
Oh, this position looks slightly better for white, I would say.
Yeah, it does, but if black trades the pawns with d5, d4...
I mean, it's like...
you got nothing.
I know. But they're trying to do Can I play like rook d1, rook d4 and just...
Yes. So if you do get rook d1 and rook d4, that would be fine.
I know black should hold it even without the pawn because you're gonna like exchange the knight to bishop and everything.
Right.
But still, like it's like suffering for a long time, right?
Is it suffering though? So let's just go
for
ahead.
viewers, it is suffering without the pawn. When like some GMs think, oh, you just give away the pawn and then you have this like setup.
Right.
It's just a draw.
I'm
like, it's easy draw.
So like the first thing is if I play king e7.
Yeah.
Is if you play rook d4, rook check is annoying.
That is true.
So whatever you're going to do, you have to include bishop f3 so that you can go king g2 and then you can go.
But black can also like activate their pieces rook a1, rook a2, and then rook c8, rook c2. Basically, just give away the pawn.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Yeah.
If just as you described it, if I wanted to go in for a variation like this,
I would like to not to save the bishop though.
Not to lose the bishop. You would want to draw back with the rook.
No, that is true. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you drop back with the or king g2.
King g2 too.
Okay. So then this is why I wanted to put my king here, Begim. My idea is that if you give me a check, I'm just going to go here.
Oh.
You're going to be like comfy. I'm just going to like hang out. And what I'm going to really do to be super, super annoying is I'm just going to change.
You're chasing. Let's exchange.
I'm like, you gotta trade. I'm not letting you escape the trade. All right, but let's just go around the horn here a bit. Illia, did you already look at that? That was the first result of the game.
Yes. Let's look at that from the beginning, though.
It's a queen's gambit.
Interesting. I think they are former teammates, right? Illia graduated Webster as well.
Exactly.
Or is he graduated? Yeah. And then they know each other pretty well, so I'm not surprised that.
Yeah. And this is, wow, this goes back to the 2000s and a game of Vladimir Kramnik. And even though the moves look a little peculiar, bishop a5 and the little Zwischenzug in between move 94, these are all vetted and tested theoretical moves. Like the players are just so incredibly well prepared.
Yeah.
Like Black said, okay, do your worst, do your worst, do your worst, do your worst, and he ends up in a position
and in such positions, if you equalize immediately. You gotta know, otherwise it's just worse for Black usually.
Exactly. Equalized very, very, very much so. Has Black already. King f8, also just like one of those, when my view on chess, in the sense that when you trade queens, yeah? So a queen trade, when should we trade queens? It's a very important, consequent decision. You take the queens off the board, you're taking the most powerful pieces away, right? You're reducing the attacking chances. So whenever my king is more vulnerable than yours, let's trade queens. True. When I have an attacking position and your king's more vulnerable than mine, I'm looking to trade queens. Second thing is, when we trade queens, think of yourself being at a marketplace where, you got bread, I got the cheese, you got the eggs, and so on. So the idea is I want to trade on my terms. So Black could take the queen here, but that's trading on White's terms, and after knight takes, suddenly you've got to deal with this threat, and maybe you got to play rook b8, and the next thing you know, you're on the back foot. And then knight
b7 is coming, Yasser, anyways.
And knight b7, well, at the moment the bishop, right? Or no, I understand. You've got.
Well, b2 is hanging too, but like, it's
like one of those mass variations of trades. Oops. But no question about it that knight b7 is
it's
on
very
the agenda.
dangerous, yes, absolutely.
But what black says is, yeah, let's trade queens, but let's trade it on my terms. I don't want to see your knight landing on d6, but if the knight's going to land on d6, my king's going to be on e7, and let's go. So I really like that last little sequence that we just saw.
I really like how you explained that too.
Thank you. Trade, and now, boy, I don't think the position could get any more dry than it has, and the players. There was this book. Now I forgot what title it's from. It's Swiercz versus Weiss, and they ended up literally getting into a position that was identical. Right?
Really?
Yeah, white and black. And I mean, imagine the pawn is on a6, the pawn is on h3, and it's like draw, agreed. So
what happens if you cannot offer a draw?
They find this, which is called a repetition. I don't think he played king e4, by the way. I think that was just the king getting placed on the square. On the square. It's like one of those things where you might end up fighting yourself,
right?
like baited, like what?
Yeah.
Okay, that was a draw, and let's see. Where would you like to go? Have you found some games that caught your attention?
Yeah, let's go to the B group as well.
Okay. Well, first of all, let's go to our marquee matchup and just.
That is also true. We didn't see how it's going.
And when we left it here. About this time, I think I was just recommending takes, give the opponent the superior minor piece.
I have a feeling Krishnan, he just wants to keep the pieces and play. He's a very fighting player.
Oh, for sure.
So.
Well, there goes the pieces.
Dariusz was like, never mind, I'm just gonna take it.
Okay. Something very important just happened, by the way, which was the trade of the minor pieces, the bishop for the knight. But the trade had a consequence, Begim. The pawn got on a light square.
Yeah.
Black has the light square bishop, and as we know, in those types of resulting positions, the bishop isn't as effective.
Yes.
It was a good trade.
And I love how he played h4, and then he's like basically
chill move.
Getting the pawns closer to opponent's side. You know what I mean?
Right.
And then actually knight is way better than the bishop. Bishop doesn't have any squares and like to attack or be useful basically in this position.
So the knight, in a certain sense, controls and dominates the bishop. And then from the Japanese game of Go, they have the word tsuji. Tsuji is to dominate. Yeah. So in this case, the knight dominates the bishop, but it's very interesting how when there's two squares, like imagine the bishop goes here, on f5. Then the bishop dominates the knight, in the sense the knight would like to go to aggressive squares, right? Yeah. But the bishop dominates e4, d4, and so on.
Actually, that's the reason why he played h4 too, right?
Right, so that he could maybe
play g4, h5,
and deny the bishop. So a tsuji between the knight and the bishop is when there's two squares in between them. So, for example, the worst case would be you have to imagine that this white knight was on the a1 square.
Oh.
That's terrible. Then this bishop is on the a4 square. So the knight is completely powerless, can't move anywhere.
I love, like, you know, there are moments when you play blitz or rapid and then you just like see the move and then knight cannot move.
Knight cannot move. So in this position, I'm okay. I'm fairly comfortable with this move h4. Yeah. But what I really want desperately to do is I desperately want to target this pawn. Yeah. I want to put the knight on f4 and go after d5 with all guns blazing. Yeah. The problem is the way I see it at least, let me explain it like that, is that the desirable move, knight d3 gets hit by bishop a6, knight c, and then the bishop's great.
And g5 is coming too.
G5 is coming, the bishop protects the weakness, and in some ways it's that Tsuji I was saying, it kind of dominates.
Also, I don't like f6 by black. It just creates forever c6 square for the knight. Yeah, you can control the e5 square, but whenever knight comes to e5, you can play f6, right? It usually is like that after f6 when they can like move the knight and rook c7 and slowly like knight f4, knight e6. There are instances like e6 square and g7 pawn.
Right. So the idea is that you play the move f6. If I ever get a rook on the 7th rank, it's more effective.
Yeah, because g7 is like harder to protect than
and
f7.
the pawn's on f6. You've kind of made the rank a little bit.
It's a huge decision to play f6 in general.
Indeed it is.
It stays for, as you said, Krishnan, I told you that.
It stays forever. Don't move backwards.
Exactly.
The reason why I don't, h4 is fine. I'm not a particularly big fan because what I'm saying is my
you
goal
want to be faster?
Yeah, I want to have the knight on f4 and I want to have the rook on c5, but I run into bishop a6.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, being the clever person I am, I would play the move rook here first. Now go ahead and tell me what you would like to do for black if you have
I
go.
wouldn't like to play this position.
Okay, so I'll...
How about, no, rook e7. Let's just play like g5.
Okay, excellent.
So I won't give you knight f4.
Okay, so the knight is not jumping. So now I'll play rook to...
Now I'm forced to protect it. Can I play a6? I'm curious. I know it's an awful move, but...
Okay.
Maybe tactically it will work.
Right. So this is where I'm heading is, for me, the ultimate goal is still going after
but
d5.
But still, if you take on d5 and my bishop on e6, I'm not sure if we can trade on, like, you know, trade your a5 rook to my b8 rook, and then maybe bishop will be enough to protect the position, like, and then hitting on a2 pawn.
Okay, so after rook a5, your turn?
Okay, king f7.
King f7, so a3. So what I'm doing with the move a3 is I'm taking a pawn on the light square, moving it to a dark square, meaning that later my pawn is not going to be vulnerable. And what I'm really trying to do
just to go there, right?
is to prep a protected square. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm trying to do.
You're not taking my pawn. I'm offering a pawn on a6.
I was afraid of rook a8.
No, you could play knight c7, knight e8.
Might get trapped. Might get trapped. But this is the type. One more move for you. Go ahead.
Yeah.
What would you do?
It's just hard to play. Like I don't know what to do against your ideas. So.
Yeah. So like for example,
maybe I should play bishop f5 actually. Instead of h5.
And give me the a6
Yeah, just take it so I can activate my pieces.
You're a very nice person. They told me that you would not give me any material, any...
I know you love taking pawns.
I do.
Yeah, it's just bad. Rook b2 and rook b7 is coming.
Right, and by the way, what you said about the 7th rank really...
Here we go, I'm telling you.
It's not fun. Anyway, the point there is that we think Dariusz is for choice, and Sasi has got to... By the way, look at this move, rook b4.
I like it.
Yeah, exactly. Kind of being
kind
of like in your face, and maybe on a very good day you get to play rook c4 and try to create an imbalance.
I hope after the game Sasikiran won't watch this.
Exactly.
Like, what the heck they're doing?
What were they guys? What were they worried about? h4. Okay, but once again, I think a move like rook c3, rook b3. You see, I look at this position. And I always ask myself, what are your good pieces and what are my good pieces? And if I go back to just this position, I would say that the good pieces that black has are the rooks. And like this rook, it's kind of blocked. This one, well, it's kind of playing a defensive role, right? More like that. So when I see the move rook b4, one of the things I start thinking is, how can I get that rook out of my business? I want to get rid of this rook. And the fact of the matter is that this rook is more active than this rook. So I look at it and I say, I'm trying to get rid of my passive piece for your active piece. Yeah. We'll keep an eye on this one. Let's go to...
And then we have a result.
Do we already?
B section.
In the B section?
Yes.
Okay, let's just jump over there.
I do believe Elshan and Dambasaran made a draw.
Oh, yeah, that occurred fast. And this is a Catalan. Are you a Catalan player, by the way? Do you like Catalans?
I do play with black, and then...
Oh, against the Catalan.
I do play with white, too.
Okay.
It just depends. If I know the line, I like it. If I don't know it, I don't like it.
So, for example, here we're at a very important crossroads. For the entirety of the Catalan complex, there are two ways of playing. You can capture the pawn, and that's where we have what we call the open Catalan, or you maintain the pawn on d5. You lock in this bishop, and we have the closed Catalan. So, for example, if I play the open Catalan, you might say, oh, in that case, I'll play the Catalan against you because... So do you like, when you're playing the Catalan as white, do you like it when they play the open or the closed? What do you like to play against?
I would say open.
Open.
Yeah.
So that's much more...
Close is like kind of easier to put the pieces for white. They just know, like, you play b3, bishop f4, and then just goes queen, knight c3.
e4, go.
So I, with like lower rated players, I would like...
Always
I would love to play like close one, but with higher rated players, probably open one.
Okay. c7, c6. Didn't your coach ever say, don't look at the rating, Begim, just play the best move in the position at all times?
Yeah, everyone says that. Never bored.
You look at the rating, I get it. c7, c6, so there it is. There is the closed Catalan in all of its glory. Rook c1, a7, a5. So one of the things about the closed is oftentimes these queenside pieces need a little space. Yeah, they're
Trust
a
me,
little bit stuck.
I played it with black, and then it's just pure suffering, I would say. You just try to do something with the c8 bishop, and then white is pressing all the time.
Right, okay. So one of the things I would love to do if I was black is I'd just love to trade rooks. So like,
oh, that would be great.
Right? Yeah, just kind of lean across the board.
Yeah.
Say to my opponent, would you like to trade
just
a
we
pair
can
of
take
rooks?
that off.
Can we please? And if my opponent agrees, I'm happy, right? Because then I don't even have to worry about my bishop moving,
Absolutely.
right? So the idea, what's the idea behind a5? The idea behind a5 is very simple. I want to play the move a4. And then what I want to do is I want to get in a position like this where...
Well, I cannot play b3, right?
Right. But let's suppose you could have played b3. Like instead of playing king h2, just for argument's sake, we would have played the move bishop c3. Now, I understand I'm losing the pawn, but this is the whole idea of black's play of a5, a4. Is he's...
Open up the rook.
Traded off the rook. So he talked to his opponent and he said, let's get rid of the rook. So the idea behind a5, a4 is at some moment you think that white might play the move b3. Great, let's trade rooks. And if, for example, you do play the move b3 and I play a4, in principle,
you know, I know I shouldn't take such pawns, but even in my last tournament recently, I still took it. I'm like, dynamically, it sounds good.
Okay.
And this is just horrible.
Right.
Just don't take it.
Right.
I lost the game.
Oh. a5, let's see what happened. Actually, let me just refresh my board. Apologies, because I've got some analysis in there that kind of messed. He did play b3, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay, b5. Now that move I'm not a fan of. I don't like this move at all. And I think after the most principal move is c5.
That's what I was thinking. After c5, what's your idea? You can play b4, then a3.
Correct.
So
In
many
fact,
weaknesses.
Black's idea is to leave the pawns and not commit them. So after a4, his idea is to play b4, and after b4, his idea is to play a4. And then it's a big fight over e5 and e4. Normally speaking, you can't get in e5. I'm going to play bishop f4. So normally speaking, what Black tries to do is fight over control of e4. But I like the cramped
suffering.
Yeah, this pawn is actually pretty useful.
Probably his idea was to play knight d4, f5, knight d f6, bishop d7, bishop e8, bishop h5. Basically, that's the idea.
You were way too fast. What was his idea? Tell.
If after c5, probably Black wanted to play knight d4.
Knight e4.
Yeah.
Yes.
Knight c3, f5.
f5.
His idea, knight d f6, bishop d7, bishop e8.
With the idea knight.
Yeah.
Here.
That's
like,
the ideal position.
As in a stone wall.
Yeah.
You just get out.
I have the stone wall actually position.
In your repertoire. Yes. Exactly. Did you play the stone?
I did play with Black. It's just bad. Don't play.
And you heard it here first, folks. Whenever you see those books that says winning with the stone wall, you can do it. You can beat your opponents. Play the Dutch stone wall. Begim is like, bad book, never mind. He did not do that. After b5, he said, look, I'm kind of happy. Let me go here. But here's the problem. This bishop on c8, which was kind of this passive, locked-in bishop, is actually now doing really good, and you've got to jump to b5. And if you look at the position...
Suddenly the position is great, right?
Right.
I would play for a win here with Black. I'm like, okay, getting ready.
Exactly. And because, again, I'm starting to look around, like I told you. I look around and I say, you happy? Yeah. You happy?
Absolutely.
B4
pawn is gorgeous.
Yeah, right? I've got two unhappy guys. I kind of think this guy's a little unhappy. I kind of think this guy's a little... Put the bishop on f4 and you will be saying, you know, like, I'm proud of myself. Looking across the board, I see a lot of happy people.
Yeah.
I
probably, like, dynamically we're not on time, though.
Well, let's see, because the game did, let's just remind everybody, the game did end in a draw, but...
Oh. That is a strange move.
I agree. That's very strange.
I mean, knight is great, b4 pawn is great on, like...
So, the immediate question is probably it's not good, but I just have to quickly take a look. If I did...
Bishop f1?
Bishop f1. I was so insulting as to deign to grab a
Queen
miserable...
a4, rook c6, probably?
Queen a4 is a nice tempo, isn't it? And I had to
The pieces are too active here.
It feels like it, right?
Yeah.
Like...
Bishop a6, probably getting the pawn back?
Well, if that gets the pawn back, then I really am unhappy.
Rook c7. Can I play text? No, never mind.
Yeah. But, yeah, it...
I had some activity, but nothing for sure, right?
Yeah, it's not the... It doesn't feel like a proper way...
Bishop b5, probably, rook a6.
Of playing for a win, yeah?
I don't think Black is doing better here. I wouldn't be sure, but knight...
Yeah, it just kind of doesn't feel like I'm playing for a win.
But
like
knight d6 could be interesting. No, then rook a6.
Yep.
And then probably queen a1 saves after like queen c8, queen e5, queen c1,
Queen c8, queen... Sorry, what?
Queen a5.
Queen a5.
Queen c1.
Queen
just you can
c1.
even drop back.
Queen a1, yeah.
So knight g5, nothing is like g5, knight g5 is not an idea anymore.
Right.
But
it didn't happen. Let's just jump to what did happen. After bishop e1, he didn't he dropped back with the knight. Queen b2, h6, bishop f1, and somehow white just managed to.
Yeah, black's idea was to trade the one pair of knights and then put the other pair, but it's taking so much time and taking away the pressure they had.
Yeah, in the old Soviet Union, they had these chess writers that spoke of the open file, the open C file, and they called it the chopping block. That was where
you just put the pressure,
and the trades all happened on the C file.
But at some point we figured that if the file's open C file, we can put so much pressure through that too.
Yeah, and that's where we saw the rooks come out.
Yeah.
Not a great game for white, and it kind of, Elshan had an easy day with the black pieces. Luca, one of the locals here.
He's my teammate.
Is he? Okay.
He goes to Mizzou.
Wonderful. From Serbia, this is, wow, look at this. I remember when I was playing the French defenses black, and we would get to a position like this, and that would be enough. We would say, okay, that's our preparation. No, not today.
Nowadays, no. It's just the beginning of the prep.
And this is all prep, I promise you. I mean, the moves look strange.
And also, Luca himself plays e6 with black, so I'm pretty confident he knew the line.
Exactly. Here, there's a question, though. You see the move queen d8, and oftentimes in this line, there are reasons, long-term reasons, why you want to provoke the move g2, g3. Okay, so I've often seen players play the check, provoke the move g3, and then they drop back with the queen.
But here, maybe I can play queen h4, king e2. Maybe that could be the problem. So I'm on time. Like I have one more tempo to play rook hb1, you know?
King e2.
And then the idea is to attack maybe on b7.
King e2.
Yes.
What are they teaching you in Mizzou? I mean, King e2.
I'm developing my piece. What do you want from me?
Okay, King e2. That's a funny way of thinking about it.
No
Developing
problem.
your king, everybody. Think about how to develop
your king. Right?
Okay.
No, probably it's not the best, but I'm just saying.
Many times, I think. Sorry, the other important thing is that b5, bishop b5, and knight b5 are a problem.
And after king e2, actually, I cannot do that.
Right. This might be embarrassing.
I just think like that, you know?
Okay.
Logic is important.
Check. No check. No testing of the check. Look at this, bishop b6. Now the check.
See, Luca is...
Look at, wow.
He knows king e2 is not enough.
Nice. Okay, queen to g4.
Oh, wow.
Yasser,
do you want to calculate a little bit?
Wow. Well, one of the benefits I want to say, Begim, one of the nice benefits that white enjoys having made this move bishop b6 is he doesn't have to deal with b5. Okay, so that's cool. That's the first. But wow, check this move out, knight e4. So essentially what white is saying is that you are so tied up that I even have time.
Rook c3, rook c8 is just a huge threat. No, but you cannot do it.
Also,
can you? I can.
That looks like it's done and dusted. Rook c3
bishop
is
b4
much
is not
stronger.
working actually.
No, I still just.
You still take queen b4 and then castle and then it's over.
Done and dusted. So the knight is untouchable. Bishop e7 and black has, I think anybody who's ever played chess for any length of time has always had those one games where it's like, all I need is one move. Like if I can castle, if black castles, he's a pawn up.
That is true.
He's ready to take. It's like, just one tempo. Does he have it though?
Ugh.
No, I can't castle. That would cost me a piece.
And we have a result. Justin Wang
Wow.
lost against Akshat Chandra.
Wow, that happened fast too. We'll get there. We just saw the move knight c5, bishop c5, bishop. Ooh.
Finally.
Wow.
So,
Threatening queen b4.
what a great preparation.
Isn't it? It's
Wow.
amazing. f6, making room for the king.
And then
Whoa.
also, Yasser,
Yes?
you can see Luka didn't spend any time.
No.
He had 1 hour 34 minutes in his
All
position.
preparation.
All preparation.
Oh my gosh, look at this. Takes, h3, queen f5. Oh my gosh, what a preparation. Rook e4. And as we go through this amazing preparation, I'm going to just pause myself and say, we have a guest in studio. Begim, this time you're out the door. You'll be missed.
I'm not
Greatly.
sure about it.
And we'll just finish up here. My gosh, what a preparation. What a preparation. Hi.
Hey, long time no see.
Long time no see, right? Wow, nice.
Heard you moved to St. Louis now.
Yes.
That's perfect.
Yes, perfect indeed. Just looking at Akshat. Oh, first of all, big welcome, big congratulations. We're just finishing up this game of Luka and Semyon, and just amazing preparation. These guys, what they work on.
Yeah, for sure. No, this line is very topical. I think Fabi played it against Alireza as well.
Right, recently.
Either you remember everything, or you just lose on the spot pretty much.
I was about to say, it looks like Black has weathered the storm. His king went out to g6, but somehow the queens got traded, and White's empty-handed here. Too many pawns. Let's get to your game. First of all, you're playing Justin Wang, who just finished the U.S. Junior Championship, so I guess you looked at those games.
I took a quick look, but there wasn't anything which could really help me. None of his opponents played the openings I played, so.
Disturbing.
Yeah.
What happened? Tell us. First of all, you're Black, and you chose Open Sicilian.
Yeah, so I was surprised by Bishop e2 on move 9. I mean, I vaguely remember some idea with f4 what he played, but I had no idea what I'm supposed to do. Usually they just go queen d2 and either castle long or play for knight d5.
Looks smart. Queen d2, castle
Yeah,
long,
there's a
play
bunch of
king
theory there.
d1, and away you go.
Pretty much.
And you were ready for that.
Yeah,
as
that's what I
opposed
was
to the-
expecting.
As opposed to the side variation, bishop e2.
Yeah, bishop e2 is probably super rare. I don't even know if like there are that many games.
But isn't there a logic glitch here for White, though? First of all, you've played f3, f4.
Well, that's
bishop
modern
e2.
chess. None of the principles matter anymore. You can play f3, f4, and it's still better for white.
He's induced you to play h5
Yeah,
by threatening to play g4.
Right. Yeah, I thought his idea was to follow with h3 then, and then castle, like castle short.
Like h3 immediately?
Well, f4 first, and let's say
Okay.
I played queen c7, and now h3.
Okay.
I was wondering during the game, how am I going to castle? Because bishop e7 castle, I mean, maybe I could sack a pawn, but it's kind of uncomfortable.
You
And it's
mean
not
just
easy to
like
protect
this guy?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The pawn's always a problem.
Right. Any
I mean, I probably would play something with h4, but again, if I castle, that pawn could be a bit loose.
Okay. And these thoughts are going through your mind, like how am I going to
Right,
protect
yeah.
the pawn? f4, queen c7, castles. Tell me when things started going, in your opinion, in your favor.
I have no idea. I couldn't evaluate anything for most of the game. I was surprised by queen d2 though. I thought he would take on g4 for sure.
Right.
I mean, I don't even know if knight g4 is good. It seems kind of dubious, but maybe it's all right. I was going to take with a pawn.
Okay.
And I was calculating f5,
Okay.
bishop c4,
Okay.
rook e1, knight f6. And I thought maybe I have ideas with like long castle and d5 here. For example, bishop g5. I thought I could go long castle here.
Okay.
And it seemed pretty interesting. There's like one funny line I calculated.
You're going to meet me on the H file?
Yeah, so bishop f6, gf6, knight d5.
Oh, knight d5.
Yeah, bishop takes d5, queen takes d5,
Yeah.
queen b6 check. If he goes to f1, I take on h2. King h1, g3, No, I played G3 first.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, it's coming.
Yes. So yes, this is this everybody should have hardwired into there because it's such a nice.
And the Queen F2, yeah.
And then you have the double threat of mate, but also this mate.
Yeah,
threat.
that's right.
So King F1 and Rook H2. Yeah. So
I mean, there's no way he would go for this. It was just a funny line I saw during the game.
Yeah, right. Okay, nice. He gave up his dark square bishop. And
yeah, I thought it should be okay after that, but still, it wasn't so easy over the board. Yeah, bishop e7, knight d5. Yeah, I spent a lot of time here because I wasn't sure if I should allow the f takes e5 structure or I should take on f4 first. Like, so if I castle, he's going to go f takes e5 and d6. So that's a nasty idea. I don't know if I can hold here, but it looks really scary. Gf6 and like, he could always play queen g3 or queen h6. He has at least a draw. It looks.
This is not
Rook
the way.
D3,
This is not what we play chess for.
Exactly.
You know, like suffering. No.
So I thought maybe I play rook d8 first, anticipating f takes e5 and d6.
Right.
But I don't know, c4. I wasn't really sure what's going on here.
It's unclear.
I mean, it feels like I kind of have to take it on f4 at some point.
Which is why in the game you did. And
Yeah, I was just worried if the knight comes to f5, like knight d4, knight f5, but he's not in time. I always have knight takes d5 here.
Right.
And as happened in the game, c4, rook a8. Somehow he can't quite coordinate his pieces.
So I mean, yeah, you're fearing that the magic move knight d4 f5 happens in one go.
Right, yeah.
And then you get to go queen g3 as well, and then you're suffering.
Yeah.
So you have to avoid that setup. And rook ae8, well, okay, in anticipation of.
Yeah, this move surprised me also. I thought he would go queen h3. I thought that was his point. That's what I spent all my time thinking about when I played e takes f4. Yeah, I thought he would go queen h3.
Oh, pardon me, excuse me.
Yeah, to hit the pawn on h5.
Makes sense.
I still wasn't entirely sure what I was going to play. Because now he's like, he also wants to double up on the f file.
Makes sense as well.
Maybe I would sack the pawn with bishop d8.
As in the game, yeah?
Yeah, just
And
let
just
him
say,
take. And
big deal, you get something.
Right, yeah, I have some good play on the dark squares. I don't think I
Yeah.
should be worse here.
I don't either. In the game, and sorry that I have to speed you up because
Yeah, no worries.
we reached this point. Now tell us how you got to g5 in your mind. Like what was it? So I was thinking, perfect timing too, Akshat. You're going to love this. I'm sitting here telling to Begim, I like black's position. I like black's position a lot. In that the rook on f4 and the bishop on f3 aren't really scaring anybody. And then you play g5.
Slashing, yeah.
Okay, next game. So how did you come up with g5?
Well, I was considering on the previous move instead of rook e5, but it doesn't quite work. He has rook f5, and I can't really catch the rook.
So the immediate g5, he's got rook f5, and
yeah.
Okay, so you played rook e5.
So I thought rook e5, yeah, centralizes the rook, prepares
Yeah.
to double up, and also covers the f5 square.
Okay, so your thinking was that this rook, even though it might look stupid, doesn't have a really good square along the fourth rank.
Yeah, because if he moves it laterally, I get g4, knight e4, and it looks very scary. Bishop g5's coming. He's got a bunch of threats he has to deal with to his king.
Gotcha.
I figured he would go for some version of the exchange sack, what he did in the game.
Okay.
This just looks absolutely
Terrible.
horrifying. Yeah.
Okay, queen g3, rook f6. So you essentially induced him to sacrifice, but you've got active pieces. This is actually...
Yeah, he has some compensation, but like my pieces work together so well. He just can't never get his knight to a good square, and the pawn's kind of loose as well.
Actually, this feels like a really nice game. Like
Those are rare these days for me, so appreciate it.
Yeah, no, I mean this is a dream. Like you know, you don't even think about going on this diagonal.
Yeah.
And in the meantime, the DC pawn is not really a runner.
Yeah, it's kind of sad for him that he can't do anything. Like I don't even rush with c4. I go bishop b6 first, and that potential idea of c4 is just lethal.
Exactly. Yeah, I like. Wow, feels really.
Yeah, here I was just not sure if I should take on c4, rook e1. Maybe you can tell me what's the more precise move. Queen takes c4, rook e1.
You know, I once had this debate with Jan Timman, not about this particular position. Any move, Akshat, that induces resignation.
Well, I guess I chose.
You don't have to double guess yourself. Congratulations.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Nice. Coming in, what's your ambitions?
No ambitions really. I won a
Just
game
wanna
at
play
least, so
Good chess.
that's a good start. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much.
Appreciate
Come
it,
back
Yasser.
again.
Yeah, thank you, hopefully.
Absolutely. Good to see you. It's
Yeah,
been
likewise,
ages.
for sure.
I mean, my gosh. Wow. All right. As I run over to another of the game that's ongoing, this one is between Arman and Andrew. Okay, this looks like it's going to be heading for a draw. This last move, bishop f1, is going to capture that guy. Luca's great preparation did not pan out. Luca is definitely losing. And let me just jump to the other group. Dariusz versus Krishna. 4 versus 4 looks like a kind of a draw. We lost you. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Begim, very nice.
You had a very fun interview.
I know.
actually.
I have known Akshat for the better part, I'm going to say, of 10 years.
Oh
His
my
family has moved to the St. Louis area. He went to SLU. He really, his chess blossomed, let's put it that way, being in the St. Louis area, because when you think about the club, all of the activities, and he's just rubbing shoulders with all the Grandmasters in
That's
the area,
perfect.
something's going to, rub off. So.
And also, we talked about this game earlier.
Yeah, exactly.
Didn't work out.
And I'm just looking at Dariusz and Sasi, and that game is heading for a draw. By the way, in this A group, 2 draws, this will be the third.
Third one.
Let's jump to the game of our newly minted Mishra, as this looks like a French defense. Yes, indeed it is. We're just going to go very, very quickly from previous play to current position. And I want to say, very, very often, it's difficult to play quiet positions where all of the game and decision
And Dariusz versus Sasikiran ended
was
in
drawn.
a draw.
Yeah, was drawn. You're under some pressure, and you have this strong desire to lash out. G5 is a very, very bad no-no. I don't like this move at all.
It feels like Abhi wanted to get some dynamic play here.
Yeah, but it also is kind of an indication that, he's fearful of being pressured. In this position, if you don't play G5, Begim, if you had to play another move, what move would you play?
I would play King C7, King
Okay,
B7.
very good. King C7, King B7, because what that move does is it gets a bad piece, the king on D7, out of the way and onto a better square B7. You vacate the D7 square. But I have another view. My view is that my bad piece is not my king. The center is closed. You're not attacking my king. Any checks will easily be met by knight c6. My bad piece is the queen on d8.
I agree on that.
I go queen g8. Queen g8.
You want to play Queen H7 and then Queen E4 or Knight F5? Okay.
And Queen E4. My queen is much, much better placed on G8. I'm also thinking about those dynamics of what you said, of G5 and F6 kind of play, but then again, my queen would be better positioned in that case. So after queen, please.
I have a feeling Mishra was kind of
Afraid,
concerned
worried?
of Rook F3 maybe.
Rook F3.
Oh no, he just lost the game.
Yes, it's over.
It's over.
Rook F3, Rook F8. What Mishra did with the move G5 is he turned his king side into a porous target.
And somehow King ended up protecting e6 pawn.
Not good. h6 pawn is under attack.
Absolutely.
He didn't want to play h5, basically, the dark squares.
And then knight comes to g5.
No me gusta. He played g5. But look at this. Now the porous, one of your best moves right now, what's one of the best moves? g5, g7, right? If you could play g5, g7, the knight is coming to g4. And here we go.
Yasser, if you could combine your idea and my idea,
wow,
that would be perfect.
Yeah, monster.
Maybe we should play tournaments together, right? One move you
know,
make, second move I'll
They used to
do.
have some of these team competitions.
Really?
Mixed team. Oh, I played twice in China with mixed team competition. I must say, though, I had an incredibly good partner, which explains why we won the competition. Zhu Shen, she was the women's world champion.
Yeah, I know.
Former world champion, and
That's perfect.
I know.
She's a strong player. She beat me
that's
once.
what I'm talking about. Well, Mishra lost a pawn, and look at this. It's just a home run. He's suffering.
I have a feeling Abhimanyu lost this game by choice, unfortunately.
Wow, and for Pranav, very, very nice.
Nice
he,
win.
he defeated a very good opponent. By the way,
Absolutely.
Mishra went through the U.S. Junior Championship completely unblemished. I do believe he was the only player in the U.S. Juniors not to lose a single game. And very, very one-sided game here today. And I do believe that the culprit for his demise is right here. This move D5, G5. This move.
Absolutely.
This is when you lash out because you're afraid of this or that. But if you had played, pardon me, not you, but if he had played the move Queen G8 with the idea of Queen H7, you're kind of eyeballing. Like if White, for example, oftentimes in these positions, White oftentimes thinks that his king is misplaced, right? So he does this kind of thing. And let's say I go knight b, or I like your idea too. Go king here. If White goes Queen F3, not saying that this is a good move or not, one of the benefits of having the queen on H7.
No, I think Queen G8, Queen H7 is a great idea. And then you're protecting your weaknesses G7 and then F7 pawns and bringing out your pieces first, then preparing G5.
Well, I hope we'll get Pranav to join us and share his
thoughts about
his nice victory today.
Nice
Just
win.
jumping to a game between Raunak, I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly, Raunak versus John Burke. Queen ending 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, sir. Do you need any help?
Yes. How many fingers you got? 1,
It's
2,
5
3.
versus 4.
I like the player with the 5.
Absolutely.
I like the player with the 5.
Pawns are important.
Pawns
But
are
the
important.
tricky part is that
Converting?
No,
No.
it's white to move when they can play Queen G3.
That's
but
tricky. Okay, but then...
But they're not saving the pawns. King 8, absolutely, yeah.
Well, I'm going to get a king and pawn in game.
No, I can take.
I'm going to get a king and pawn. I'm getting a king and pawn in game.
No matter what I do.
Yeah.
That is true.
Right. If you take with the pawn, I got a king and pawn in game. If you take with the queen, I've got a king and pawn in game.
You just love trading. It's just like.
But this is the question: is it? It's better for black because he's going to have the more active king.
But the d5 pawn is falling now.
So then it's just a win.
It's just a win. But if I don't get the pawn, then I'm pawn down. And then you're threatening to play actual Queen A1, Queen A4 as well.
Okay, but here's the thing. Can I get some counterplay maybe with this guy? So let's say I take, I'm not happy. Don't get me wrong. I'm not happy, right? You can decide.
I mean, I'm taking on d5 as well.
Ah.
You can take that
If you take on d5, this is the counterplay that I was talking about, right?
Yeah.
But Queen h4.
H4, H3. You can be mating. Actually.
Or h4, h3. That's That's an issue.
But like Queen G1, we shouldn't forget about Queen G1
Right.
idea. Then I'm not on time.
That's embarrassing. But yeah, that's the counterplay. You
Yeah, absolutely.
You rip away the counterplay, and so it might be that this is just a winning position for John as this move. And by the way, he played f4, f3.
Which is
He
a very
realized-
strong move.
Yeah, he realized.
Immediately.
Yeah, he realized that. Look, you know, I've got that king and pawn endgame that we've been talking about, and I've got this queen ending, which should be winning. Let's just jump. Control tab. Wow, we only have one. Things went
Luca, what
fast.
happened to his position?
I-
He was deep into his preparation.
Yeah,
He must be.
boomeranged. The preparation
Oh my
boomeranged.
God.
This
It
is
feels
gone.
like. Can we go back a little bit?
Sure. We're gonna have to go back a way big bit.
After Queen
because-
E7, we left this game, but
Right, and we thought, okay, this is what his
what went
preparation.
wrong?
Right, H3, Queen Rook E3, Rook E8.
And he had 9, like his opponent had 9 minutes, and he had 43 minutes.
Did Luca, and
Yeah.
with this move, Queen C6, I got a feeling that he went this far in his preparation because he's threatening G4, which
G4.
is winning. But after E5, maybe the move castles was wrong.
Maybe. Oh, maybe instead, maybe it was Rook F1.
Rook F. You're blowing my mind.
What's the difference? That maybe Queen H3 something is not with check.
If you don't mind me asking, if I take a pawn, I guess you've got to take the bishop. Why else did you play B5?
Then Rook F1 you want to play?
That, yes, exactly. That was my thinking, was just
But after Queen G5, you're not threatening anything, no?
nothing absolutely inglorious, but
It feels weird. The position already feels weird.
no question it's
Yeah.
weird. The king on G6.
Yeah, I have a feeling castles, as you said, castles doesn't look right.
Something's off with that move. Takes. Now here, I mean, we could go check, but there's our king is gonna, you know, like if we go Queen C6 check, and we greedily, love that word greed, right? We greedily grab the pawn. Well,
And
we've
now
got some
we just
music.
got the result. Luca resigned.
Yeah, he did. Even, you know, one of the worst things, you know, we talk about bad things that can happen in chess.
Yes.
Okay, we all understand that the worst thing that can happen in chess is that we lose a game. That's bad. It's not the worst thing that can happen in a game. You want to know the absolutely worst thing that can happen in a game is you lose. That's bad. But you lose a game where you show all your great preparation, so the whole world now knows what you've been working on.
And then you still lose the game.
You still lose
I
the
know.
game.
Trust me, I
That's
have so many,
terrible.
like, it's a weird thing because women, we never regret about it as like men do. I have so many like guys friends, and then after the game I'm like, oh, I'm sorry you lose the game. They're like, no, it's fine, but I'm mad that I showed my preparation
And lost
I
the
did
game.
exactly as
Right.
you said. I'm like, why? For me it's different. If I lose the game, I lose the game.
Regardless of whether
Yeah.
it was well prepared or
Yeah,
otherwise. Okay.
Exactly. But for men, it's so important
Oh.
to have the preparation and not lose the game.
Oh, for sure, because again, you know, you work really, really hard on chess. Trust me when I say that these players coming to the game, they prepared, they put hours of blood, sweat, and tears. They get their preparation on the board, and then they lose the game. Then it's like now all the opponents say, so that's what you've been studying. That's what you're working on. And now I'm going to study it as well. And you get this big fat zero. So that
Yeah.
was
that is upsetting.
tough.
That's always upsetting.
That's very, very tough. And I mean, either this is perfect defense and Semyon was incredibly well prepared, or just around these parts, the prep something went awry with the prep. Maybe it's the move queen c7. I'm not even sure why I need the move queen c7.
Do you want to play g4 instead?
For example, g4 looks
queen f4?
Looks interesting. But I was more...
Queen d6?
Like, yeah, just... Okay, now I understand c7. So the idea is you want to play g4.
Yeah, and then protect on c2 so you can trap.
Queen c7, e5.
I have a feeling here after e5.
By the way, this also dodges rook e5, rook g5, right? Sorry, go on. You were about to say.
After e5, like, it should be good for white.
It should be good for white. I agree.
Or maybe Lomonosov was trying to recall his line. Basically, it's also possible that maybe it's if your both sides are precise, it's just as usual, it's equal.
Well,
but castles really doesn't look right.
And indeed, let's say I play bishop b3. Just for example, if you take, there is a check. So takes, check. You're going to go back, right?
Yeah.
Knight f6. So sorry, I don't get to play.
Queen e4 is a threat.
Indeed, queen e4 is a really, really annoying threat. Okay, sorry, just got thrown off. Anyway, that completes that tournament. That's it. All those 5 games, and we have
Group B
3
is
wins.
done.
We have Group
and
B is done.
two draws, and Group A has so far 3 draws.
Okay.
And we have the last game of the day going, which is John Burke and Raunak.
And only in the A group, only Pranav has won against Mishra thus far, because we think John Burke, as we see on our screens there, former U.S. junior champion, he played in a U.S. junior championship that was so strong. It was like scary good.
I remember.
And
it was 2021, right?
Yeah, it wasn't.
It was my first time playing women's.
Really?
Yeah.
How did you do, by the way?
I got second.
Which is a very
You
first
don't
time out.
remember, Yasser?
No, it was the first time out of the box.
There we go.
Well, good for you. But yeah, John won a very, very nice championship. Now he's trying to get into, the higher
He was a student
echelons.
too. He went to Webster as well,
Yes.
so I have a feeling he's slowly coming back again to chess.
Exactly.
It feels like it.
Well, one of the things, of course, when you're a student in a university college, it takes so much of your time that you don't have the energy to play in these events.
Absolutely.
And so
I know from my own experience, it's like extremely tough. And then
having 2 jobs.
Yeah.
Precisely. So here, just as we're up to date with the position, no, I don't think we are. Let me just flash back and forth. We've got many more moves. So g4, check. Please, let's go into that king and pawn and game. We know it's a win for black.
Queen f2, I would say it's a clever move, but what's your idea?
Well, are you in the square?
No.
Not all, not even close. We were really, really close on this one.
Yeah, so no one's going to fall for it.
Nobody's going to fall for that one.
But I feel like queen is very passive on f2, and
it
you
is.
Really don't want to do anything.
It is. Let me just again, the queen f2 sets that incredibly nasty trap. So the first thing is we look at checks, right?
Absolutely.
Is that what, so for me, there was this terrible book. It ruined lots of players think like a grandmaster.
Oh, I know that book too.
Yeah, it's a terrible, terrible book. But there, in a pile of manure, you're going to find something.
Yes. So
one of the ideas of the book was also like, looking at candidates' moves, which is very, very good. And the first moves you always look at checks. And the second moves you always look at captures. So you look at checks first, or are there checks? Is it good? Is it bad? Well, we'll find out. And then captures. Well, which should we get? Should we capture that? Okay. So in this position, the first move we looked at was actually a capture, and we got it backwards. The first move we should have been looking at is a check.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Actually, now I am kind of like, I'm warming up for this like Queen F2 idea. I think it's clever because.
Is it?
What's another point when you check on A1 and try to get any A4 or D5 pawn? I'm taking on B6 with a check.
Ah, okay. So let's take a look. So we go check. Now clearly, that's out of business. Check. Now I think G3 is out of business for similar reasons. Anytime I can forward king and pawn ending, it's wins. The king and pawn endgames all win, so you're pretty much obliged to retreat. And as you were saying, or before I interrupted you, any captures, if I go either capturing here or capturing there or there, you're saying queen takes b6, and that's a check, and maybe I've got some action to look at.
The thing is that I can take on D5, I can take on G2 and then D5, right? So I'm not now.
Sorry?
Like,
yeah.
Okay, I need to be a little bit clever about it.
Clever
About it.
Let's see, how clever can you be?
It's hard to be clever when the pawn on B6 is hanging
with a check.
Maybe I just need to take on G2, but Queen F.
Okay.
No problem. If you take on B6.
Which, because we're struggling, Begim, it is a good indication why John too is saying, okay, just a second. If the checks, if the captures are bad and if the checks are bad, he might be thinking, okay, I have a different, what's a different approach that I can take? I know it's stupid, of course, but just bear me out. So if I played a move like queen here, takes, and if this was...
But yeah, sir, you can be a little bit more clever about it and play queen G7.
Okay, now we're talking, if you want to be clever. Queen G7, so I'm threatening queen G2 winning.
But queen B6 is the...
It's still check.
But king H7?
Or E6, or F6.
I like E6 though.
Yeah.
Can I play just E6?
Well, then I have
E3?
Queen E3. So your initial...
my idea was to play king H7 and try to get to a pawn quickly. How about I can take on G2 and then I'm threatening queen A1?
Yeah, that queen A1 is really, really... Oh my gosh, disturbing. But hold on.
King G8.
King
Queen C8.
Yes.
Queen F8.
Are you in the square?
No.
I can't believe it.
No, I'm not.
So one of the things that we did is we did it like this. Mentally we draw a square and say this is what the pawn and the black king in this moment needs to play the move king D8. So, and in this moment, because we draw this, the square needs to step into C8, yeah?
Yeah, unfortunately, she's grabbing the draw here too. Yeah. So, how about not queen G7, but queen G5 then?
Okay, so we're kind of, let me just, apologies.
Queen E5, it seems like.
He did what?
It was your move.
No. It was queen F2. So this is the moment that John is really taking he's taking a deep breath, thinking about the position. And here we're struggling with these ideas of check and check, because it ends up, at the end of the day, queen takes b6, a5 is, like, that's disturbing, right? Like, how dare you?
Raunak is searching for, actually... Here we go, for a counterplay you mentioned. Take on b6 and just move the a pawn. King g7. I was thinking, why not queen g5? Then you're taking an f3 it's not as effective. Okay, king g7.
Okay, that's an intriguing move. Again, the king and pawn endgames are all winning. So
how about I take g takes f3?
Okay, take on f3, gf3. So then I will just check.
King g2.
Munch.
Okay.
Munch. Check. This doesn't feel completely.
You want me to play king g2 to exchange? You're trying to trick me into that.
Yeah, it's okay. I don't know. Well, here it's the same thing. So I actually have to. It's a little bit better for white. It's pardon me, for black. It's just
king g3, queen g6 takes. You take king f4 and h4.
Tell me the position. What
King
should?
g3.
Yeah, queen g6.
I take.
Yeah. King takes.
King f4. Can I hold this position? And then h4. King e4 f4. Maybe. Or just like stay with the king.
Yeah, I think you might be. Yeah. Begim, we're going to kick you out because we've got another beautiful interview coming in. Yeah, so all right. And here I am going to look at this position that John currently has, as this is an amazing game. King g7, g2. Oops, sorry, that's my analysis. I have to refresh. Hi, welcome. Nice. Please take a seat. We're just looking at the one remaining game, this queen ending. Queen endings. The Soviets, they explained that chess has four phases. Opening, middle game, end game. The fourth phase was queen endings, because in the first three phases you have rules. I'm a pawn up and so on and so on. Yes. But in the fourth phase, queen endings, you could be 3 pawns up and completely losing, because with my one passed pawn wins the game, right?
Yeah.
So queen endings are really strange. And today we know, for example, that 2 pawns, 2 connected passed pawns in a queen versus another queen is a draw. It's like, it's crazy. It's like these table bases, what they teach us. Congratulations, today you have won a wonderful game. What happened?
Yeah, I was not expecting the French at all, but...
Yes, he was mainly an open Sicilian Najdorf player.
Yeah.
But he played it in the U.S. Championship, right?
Yeah, I saw it. And
so it wasn't completely a surprise.
Yeah.
Okay. And the variation you chose with bishop d2, that's a little bit off the beaten track. I mean, it's a known variation.
Yeah.
But it's not what we'd say a3 is.
Yeah, it is more popular and normal.
So did you prepare this specifically for your opponent, or just in general? It's your
yeah, in general I prepared, and when he played the French, I was like, okay, let's try this.
Okay. Tell me when more or less you're in or out of preparation. So far it's still prep. It's all pretty...
To be honest, like after h5, h6 at all, I was out.
That was it, yeah?
Yeah, I was not... because I did not see it before the game, I was not, till this I was like, okay, but after this I was on my own.
Okay, so it's funny that you should say, to be honest, because then it suggests, well, you can be dishonest as well, to be dishonest. Yeah. King d7, that kind of surprised you? Everything okay still?
No, I saw this King d7. And I thought it was a very good move,
yes.
Because his idea is to bring the king out and...
or just to tuck it away. I actually thought his intention with King d7
Queen g8, yeah?
was to bring his queen to h7.
Yeah, I've seen this idea some game, with the queen going to b8 and a7, and I remembered that idea and I was thinking about it. But he said, I think queen g8, he was afraid of some rook f3, I think.
Okay.
And he cannot really move his queen to h7 or But here I thought queen h7 was possible because of this queen e4 and queen h4 tactics. Maybe missed it.
Oops. It's true. It's true. Rook f3 has not stopped it. I actually thought queen g8 was his right move. I thought, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, that after g5, you have a lovely position. Now it's very, very good for you. Did you like your position after the move g5?
Yeah, I liked it because, of course, g5 is a weakening move, and I was trying to create more weakness. And yeah, here itself, I think he has to push g5 or h5 because.
Right.
And when he pushes g5, and it's like my knight gets a wonderful square on g4 and
Exactly.
h5.
Exactly. Here, I don't know if you have that expression in India. Here it felt like one-way traffic. All your all your pieces are going, and black's pieces are rather stuck.
Yeah.
Knight f5, knight g4. And tell me your views. When did the critical moment comes up? G3 is a nice move. What?
Yeah, g3 I wanted to stop knight h4 because it was at some points, knight h4 and when I cannot play g3 and f4 also I did not want to push too early, so I wanted to prepare it first, so I played g3 stopping any ideas. But he played this rook cg8, maybe a little bit tricky move because he's threatening knight h4 now.
Ah,
Yeah, but
nice. And then there's a hidden tactic. Yes?
yeah, I mean knight h4 maybe I can still go king e2, I think, like even if he plays knight h4 now.
So, right.
But now I cannot castle, so
Right.
yeah, it's
Okay, rook g8,
rook g6.
g6, queen e2. But now you're starting to get ready for the big. One day you're going to play g4 and f4. I'm not sure in which order, but you're going to get it going. And, well, perfectly timed.
Yeah.
And here, I just feel, it feels like you're winning.
Yeah, I think here it's I did not understand this gf4 at all. Like, I mean, it's just losing a pawn, and okay, maybe he thought he said maybe he could blockade with knight g6, but of course I got this knight h5 and bishop g5 then.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he could have kept the position like that, but even if he plays something like knight c6, let's say, like I can just take fg5, play rook f1, and exchange the rooks and bring the other rook to the f5, and I think should be winning for me.
Yeah, feels it. But unfortunately, as you just said, gf, knight f4, there goes the pawn.
Yeah.
And it's not just the pawn, it's like, normally speaking, I sacrifice, I give a pawn, I get some play.
Yeah.
There's no play. I mean, in fact, e6 is actually vulnerable. So everything just, I mean, it's, I don't want to loud your play too much, but it's like one of those things, everything just like perfectly falls into place. It's just like every move you've played is kind of a link in a chain. At this point, you have different ways of winning, I think, and you can just choose your fashion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
This is a nice one. Beautiful, beautiful play. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Just for our audience, please, just introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself. And
Yeah, I am Pranav. I am from India.
Yeah.
I'm 16 years old and
16?
rated 2588.
When I was 16, I was struggling to become a master. 2200. What did you say your rating was?
2588.
Nice. And a grandmaster.
Yeah.
And what's your, how do you say, ambitions further? I mean, you're coming from a country, India, where the talents are just going explosive.
Yeah.
You want to be a part of that group, yeah?
Yeah, I mean, the ultimate goal is to become the world champion.
Of course.
Yeah.
That is it.
And I'm just trying to play my good chess in the tournaments and not think about the results. Yeah.
Right. Well, this is an indication of what's to come.
Yeah.
I would be afraid if I was in the competition. I'm happy to be in the commentator's chair.
Yeah.
Come again.
Thank you.
It was lovely. Thank you
you.
so much. As we have one game remaining, and we're going to go to that game. That's the queen ending, the fifth phase. Raunak versus John Burke. And when we left it, we had this really spectacular move, King G7. Loved it. GF3, Queen G5 check, Queen takes, and the whole idea is that any Queen takes B6 will get us into a 3 versus 2. Check, check,
So
and we're up to date. Welcome. Welcome back, Begim. Did you see that young man, 16 years old?
It's impressive.
No, seriously.
And then he's like so confident.
Right.
I want to be a world champion. And
He reminds me of my youth, like, like, was it the 18th century? Wow, okay. But very, very impressive. We're just jumping into this ending of John Burke.
Well, Yasser,
Raunak.
as we talked about King G7,
Yes.
and then behind the scenes, I got a minute to analyze a little
Okay.
bit. Look at
Tell us
what engine says. King G7 actually is not a good move.
Is
again.
not.
Yeah, as we sense King G7. We had to move the queen, right?
Mhm.
So Queen A1 and takes on G2 was better for black.
Queen A1
Yeah.
and take
Take on G2.
and just threatening
Yes,
mate. So we take, that's a check.
that's a check.
King G7 or F6, doesn't matter. We're going to be forced to take on G2, and we're going to get this ending, right?
Yeah, but just Queen E3, you can play King H7, so usually just
Oh,
avoiding
okay.
Queen E3, Queen G2.
Apologies. Queen, yes, you're right. King H2 takes on G2, takes on G. Check. King here takes on G2.
Yeah.
No, yes. And now just take on A.
Yeah.
On A. And we're in that same ending.
And
of
D5 is still hanging, right?
Yes,
So
yes.
Queen E4 is the threat.
Queen E4, yes. So an unpleasant ending. Let
Very
me just
unpleasant.
refresh, because he's kind of getting that too, right? He's getting the same ending. With the difference is that we've had to commit the pawn to F5. Maybe there are reasons.
Also, it's easier to hold F3 and H3 pawns than D5 and H3 pawns.
Correct. There are reasons why we don't want the pawn on F3, and that's a very good move right there, because that just kind of cozies up to these two.
How are you going to
pawns.
protect
Both.
both?
Not going to be easy. Well, here I'll just leave this position with the following thought, as I was explaining to our guest, that the Soviets said there are 4 phases of chess, 4 phases: openings, middle games, and endings. But the 4th phase, queen endings, belonged in its own space, its own galaxy, its own universe, because all of those rules that worked for the first 3 phases, you could toss them out.
Absolutely.
Like,
It is.
you could be 2 pawns up, but if my pass pawn was the furthest, I'm winning. And because of the possibilities of perpetual checks all the time, the material count is always super strange. This game is going to take us a long while, so we're going to actually sign off. I'm going to tell you it was great working. But before we leave, we want to give a big shout out to our audience. Thank you so much for joining us. Tell your friends where you're hanging out. We're going to be hanging out for the next 8 rounds.
8 more rounds.
And let's remind our viewers of the standings of this first round of play. Begim, do the honors.
So far, Group A, Praveen is the solo leader.
Exactly.
It was a great win against a very strong opponent, which is Abhi Mishra. And then with a draw, Illia Nyzhnyk, Dariusz Swiercz, Benjamin Burke, Aram Hakobyan, Krishnan, Sasikiran, Nikolas, Theodorou, and Raunak and John Burke are still playing, and Abhi Mishra is 0 points so far.
And in Group B, where all of the games have been completed, and we saw 3 decisive games.
Which was great, and Brandon Jacobson, Semyon Lomonosov, and Akshat Chandra so far scored full points. Elshan, Andrew Hong, Batsuren, Arman Mikaelyan, sorry, have half a point, and Alexander Lenderman, Justin Wang, and unfortunately also look at the Swiercz lost their games today.
Absolutely. And again, everyone, join us tomorrow at 4 p.m. Central Time here in St. Louis. And in the meanwhile, we wish you a very good evening. Bye-bye
We'll see
for
you
now.
tomorrow. Thank you.
Great. I loved
Thank
it.
you.
It was a nice day. Nice day.
Yes,
Yes.
that was a great day.
Okay.
This has been a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club. Any reproduction or distribution of this content without the express written consent of the St. Louis Chess Club is prohibited.